this year, we are especially focusing on three important connected themes, that is healing, well-being, and wisdom. As we realize healing is something that the world requires at this moment, we are trying to see how best yoga, with its multiple dimensions, can contribute towards this aspect of our well-being. And today, we'll be looking into inclusive yoga as a healing modality. How should approach to healing be holistic, and how should the approach of yoga has to be inclusive in its entirety? So this will be the topic of the day, and to present this topic we have one of the stellar personalities of the yoga fraternity. In fact, we are very privileged and honored to have Dr. Ananda Balayogi Bhavanani ji, whom we'll be introducing shortly. Namaste, Anandji, for joining us this morning, and thank you very much.
Namaste. It is always a pleasure to be with my Indika Yoga family, and Suprabhat, Shubdinam, bonjour to everyone.
So we'll introduce Anandji, because he's definitely, I mean, I was just reminded of Thalaiva, the superstar Rajnikant in Tamil cinema, towards whom people will look up to with a lot of love and adoration. So similarly, Anandji is one such figure in the yoga world. So I'll request Shri Subbuji to introduce him in a detailed manner. And before that, Subbuji is a very well-known face on the Indika Yoga platform. He has been one of the primary anchors for last year's festival, and also a teacher of various courses being offered at Indika Yoga, a well-wisher and a good friend in all the activities that Indika Yoga undertakes. He is currently the director of Adhyatma Yoga Academy at Bangalore. He transitioned from his engineering profession to spiritual sadhana in 2004, and ever since has been continuing in the field of yoga. He holds a master's degree in yoga from Yes Vyasa, one of the prestigious institutes of yoga in Bangalore, and a doctoral degree on yogic contributions of spiritual masters of the Bhakti movement from Hindu University of America, Florida. Added to this is that Subbuji is a disciple of Swami Atma Samsthananji Maharaj of Ramakrishna order and Mahatma Krishna Premi Maharaj in the Bhakti tradition, and a direct disciple of Padma Shri Dr. H.R. Nagendra Guruji in the field of yoga. Subbuji travels widely, inspiring and guiding people on the path of yoga through workshops, retreats, and yatras. In fact, organizing spiritual yatras is one of the most interesting teachings that Subbuji offers. And then he has trained hundreds of yoga teachers and is part of various academic bodies and universities connected to yoga. And one of his initiatives, which needs to be mentioned here, is Yoga Mitra. It's a collective platform of yoga teachers to involve them in social works. And during the second wave of the COVID, in fact, these the teachers from Yoga Mitra network reached out to thousands of participants who required the support and assistance of yoga. And he has also conducted various talk shows like Kapi with Yogi, which was quite popular, bringing out the best of the yogic stalwarts. So this is again a brief introduction of Subbuji. So Swagatam, and thank you for joining us to be the anchor of the session. And with this, now I hand it over to Subbuji to anchor the session.
Thank you, Vinayji. In fact, the Kapi with Yogi season started with Dr. Ananda. So when I just instantly this idea flashed and I wanted to start, I know a lot of people I can invite, but then who would be immediately, accessible and also wholeheartedly who will, support any such initiative. That's where I went to Dr. Ananda ji for starting this whole thing, and it became a hit. And people have been asking this yoga day also, are you going to continue or something? So I said, no, let me come with a different program, maybe Kapi with Yogi, but with the same people, but with different discussions was the idea. Thank you for reminding that. And it's homecoming again after a long gap, because I was busy with the COVID camps, which we were conducting. So I couldn't take up this time to be a part of the global festival of yoga, Indika Yoga. But then, in such a wonderful yoga mela, yoga kumbh mela, which is happening, everybody should have a dip. Indika Yoga is for immersion. It's for authentic, immersive, and transformative yoga. So we need to have an immersion. So I'm happy today to be here with my friends back again, and my elder brother, the Talaiva, as Vinayji said, a Talaiva in yoga, whom I always look up to. As we all know, our Guruji, Dr. Nagendraji, often quotes Swami Vivekananda's quotation. He says, "Combine the best of the East with the best of the West," and that's what that generation of Dr. Nagendraji, Dr. Nagaratna, and all who embodied. And in the current generation of the yoga pioneers, if we have someone, it's Dr. Ananda Balayogi Bhavanani ji, who comes from very, in fact, a born yogi, I would say, blessed to be born, as he always says, for the Rishi Dampatis, Dr. Geetananda Bhavanani ji, and Mata or Ammaji Meenakshi Devi Bhavanani ji. And so right from his childhood, who had an opportunity to grow up in a yogic environment, and also who took up to study modern medicine, and where he had been a gold medalist, a bright student, and took up yoga research as one of the major interests of his areas. And he had been heading the institutions like the CITER, which is part of the Balaji Vidyapeeth University in Pondicherry, and also the the Ananda Ashrama, which also has an international center for yoga education and research at Pondicherry. And Pondicherry has always been a yoga bhumi. Maharshi Aurobindo, Sri Mother, and various people had been there. And today he continues to be there. And recently he had got a wonderful title of being the Yoga Siddhar from the, I think, Tamil Nadu Yogasana Federation had awarded him, and much more awards and accreditations that he has. One of the most read research articles and all are from him. In fact, he had published more than 200 research papers and 19 DVDs and 23 books on authentic aspects of yoga, various aspects of yoga. And he always had been standing while he was always open for any new things to come up in yoga, but strong in the traditional roots and holds. In fact, very recently, one of his video has becoming quite popular on Sanskritam, being the technical language of yoga. Like in medical, we have Greek and Latin languages, the terminology is being there without being changed. The same way, also in yoga, Sanskritam should be there as the technical language, as he had been talking about. And also in this time of a lot of yoga is really standing in a kind of a crossroad where a lot of dynamic changes are happening. People take it for granted and do the way, twist and turn the way they want. And that's where pioneers like Dr. Anandaji had been standing very strong as pillars of yoga. And today he is also very active part of the Indian Yoga Association, which is a confluence of all the senior most legendary yoga bodies, institutions, and he represents there, and also as the editor of the yoga journal of the Indian Yoga Association as well. And Dr. Ananda also is the honorary international advisor to International Association of Yoga Therapists, IAYT, very strong, authentic body for yoga therapy in the international forum, and the Australian Association of Yoga Therapists, and also World Yoga Foundation, and also the Geetananda Yoga Association worldwide, which is represented as a Rishi culture. So somebody who brings to us the living tradition of yogis of years of lineage, and also who also takes the blend of the modern concepts with modern medicine. And that's where we see a wonderful, very unique personality of Dr. Ananda Balayogi Bhavanani. We are talking of healing, well-being, and wisdom. In all this, even we had sessions in Indica Yoga's Global Festival on music and yoga. So here is Dr. Ananda Balayogi, who can play instruments and sing, and also make many others dance also. He's the founder of the Natya, the Yoga Nat, as it bringing yoga and Natya Shastra together. So Yoga Nat, the Natyanjali team, and wonderful thing, ably supported by again the his yogic wife, Devsena ji, blessed by Ammaji, and he's also going to be succeeded or already succeeded in the line with bright young yogic children coming up. So Divya and also Anandraj, both taking up the lineage of the Rishi Parampara. So we are so glad again, Dr. Ananda Balayogi ji is very much part of Indica Yoga. So whenever we had any program, it could be the a conference physically coming here to Bangalore and being here or virtually giving us presence. He had been always so generous to accept our invitation and being a part of all our endeavors. So we are glad again to have Dr. Anandaji here to bring this wonderful dimension of inclusive yoga, which is, as I told, in this time of yoga being the crossroads, a lot of changes happening. How including all aspects of yoga as a healing modality is very important. And while people have been always talking about the disease-centric approach, he had been always standing representing the healing-centric approach of yoga. So we are glad to hear you, Dr. G. Once again, namaste and over to you. And I also welcome all the participants who are here to keenly listen to Dr. Anandji's session. And as and when you have any questions, he had been, he had been kind enough to permit the participants to ask questions in the chat box. We have the question answer box separately. So as and when you have the questions, the question box is open. You can put your questions, and he may, please be keen observing, because he may also answer your questions due course of his talk and presentation. If not later, as soon as he completes his presentation, he will take up the questions separately. Thank you so much. Namaste. Over to you.
Namaskaram, Vanakkam, Swagatam, Bonjour, Buonasera, Buonanotte, depending on which part of the planet you are logging in from. Boreida if you are from Welsh, Kuya More if you are from South Africa, Kia Ora if you are from New Zealand, and Salamat Pagi if you are from Malaysia, Indonesia, and that part of the world. Such a pleasure to be on this platform of Indica Yoga as part of this global festival. And today my focus is on healing and how yoga, with its innate inclusiveness, is the ideal methodology of healing, and how also we can take it to the underserved communities and truly then reach the unreached. I begin by invoking the Guru Parampara, without whose blessings nothing is possible. Om Tadparamparaye vidmahe jnanalingeshwaraya dhimahi Tanno Guru Prachodayate. Om Yoga Maharshi Dr. Swami Geetananda Giri Guru Maharaj Ki Jai. Yoga, that word that has become famous worldwide and today means so many things to so many people. The core of yoga is inclusiveness. The core of yoga is oneness. And this is why a yogi is not just someone who has a yoga mat and does some practices a few times a day or a few times a week. It is someone who can feel at one with the whole cosmos. We can feel oneness with ourselves, intrapersonally. We can feel oneness with others, interpersonally. And we feel oneness with the cosmos, transpersonally. Intrapersonal oneness, interpersonal oneness, transpersonal oneness. That is what yoga is all about. When we understand that the Atma that is in me, that resides in me, is the same Atma that is in every being, not just human beings, every being in this cosmos. We realize the truth of that beautiful phrase in the Guru Stotra. Madatma sarvabhutatma tasmai shri gurave namaha. My Atma, the Atma that is in me, is the Atma that is in all beings. The Lord, who is my Lord, is the Lord of the universe. My Guru is the Guru of the universe. There is oneness. The core of inclusiveness is oneness, to feel a sense of oneness. And this is why the ultimate state of yoga is where we are one. What do you mean by that one? That one means wholesomeness, completeness. There is no division. There is no separation. There are no pieces anymore. You are at peace and not in a piecemeal state. When we as an individual come into existence, when that interaction of Purusha and Prakriti, pure consciousness comes into that manifest state, suddenly there is that feeling of separatedness. There is a sense of duality. There's a sense of dichotomy. And suddenly we say, I am me. The drop that comes out of the ocean suddenly says, I exist. And in that moment of I-ness, asmita matra, what happens? A sense of separation and duality begins. And we start to think we are different than the rest. We are different than the cosmos. And so the abhinivesha klesha comes in. This I has to survive at any cost. See, this is the biggest issue. Abhinivesha klesha, which says I have to survive. What is I? It is an artificial construct of duality and divisiveness. Where does it come from? Tasya hetu abhidya. Maharishi Patanjali has given us the clear answer, avidya. Because of avidya, which is not ignorance, it is thinking you know when you don't know. Having false knowledge, but you think you are knowing. Anitya, suchi, dukkha, anatmasu, nitya, suchi, sukha, atma, kyathir, avidya, he says. We have confused everything, and so we say, I exist. And because I exist, I have my likes and dislikes, raga, dvesha, the dvandva start to come into our existence. And we are fueled by the power of abhinivesha, which is on its own energy circuit. You put everything off, abhinivesha still runs. It has a very good UPS backup. Swarasavahi, and even the most learned vidusho api samarudaha. Even when you should know better, you get stuck in abhinivesha. And the COVID pandemic has really brought out the abhinivesha klesha in so many of us, the desire to survive at any cost, and we go to ridiculous lengths in order for us to survive, even if the rest of the world collapses. This is the sense of separation which is artificial. Because the sense of separation creates a dichotomy and says, you are different than me. The moment you are different than me, you become a threat to me. The Brihadaranyaka Upanishad tells us, from Dvaitam comes Bhayam. It is the duality, the separatedness, the feeling that you are different than me, the otherness, that suddenly triggers fear. And once fear comes into the equation, the survival instinct says, I have to survive, and the whole stress response, the cascade of stress starts to manifest. Now, if you are stressed, you can never heal. The key message here is, the more stressed you are, the more you retard your healing response. Because your healing response is related to your relaxation response. So in modern terms, we would say, your healing response is directly proportional to your relaxation response and inversely proportional to your stress response. I'm going to repeat that in case you were sleeping. Often we don't hear exactly what we need to hear. Your healing response is directly proportional to your relaxation response and inversely proportional to your stress response. The more stressed you are, the less chances of healing. The more relaxed you are, the more chances of healing. And where does stress come from? That feeling of fear. Where does fear come from? A sense of separation. You are different than me. And not only have people become separated from those in their immediate and intermediate and global society, even our mind and body have become separated. The mind says, I don't like this body. The body says, hey, I don't like you also. Huh? You know, why have I been stuck with you, says the mind. You think I have any different thoughts, says the body. The body and mind are saying, you are different than me. There has become a split. A Chedana has occurred. A split has occurred. And what has happened is the mind and body start to go farther and farther and farther away. And for most people, the mind and body are like a husband and wife who hate each other to death, but have to live in the same single bedroom flat for the whole of their life. COVID, everybody having to be at home. The interpersonal issues are amazing what has come up. Because you have to be with somebody all the time. The mind and body have got split. And we have lost that spirit of oneness. We have moved from Advaitam to Dvaitam. We have moved from oneness to duality. And the moment we split and we have a sense of separatedness, separation is the root cause of all disease. My father used to say, duality is the first disease. And same thing Maharishi Patanjali says, why do you feel separate from the universe? Because of avidya. So you think that you have your own existence and that you have your own likes and dislikes and perspectives. Forgetting you are only a nimitta, you are only a tool. That is why the nimitta bhavana is so important. Narayana bhava, Narayana arpana bhava, and nimitta bhava. Live your life as if you are a tool for the divine. Your life is an offering to the divine, and it is the divine living through you. Ayam me hasto Bhagavan, ayam me Bhagavan, we say. We are that supreme consciousness. We are reminded. Adi Shankara is so beautifully telling us that. Tadeko Vashishta Shiva Kevaloham. We are that highest pure consciousness of transformation itself. And that is why we have to remember Shivoham, 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 Soham, Satchidananda Swarupoham, Shivoham, 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 Soham, Satchidananda Swarupoham. We are that higher Satchit Anandam. We are that pure consciousness. Because then there is a sense of oneness. The moment there is duality, dis-ease. You have moved away from ease into dis-ease. You have moved from your sukham to your dukkham. Sukha. The sukhasthana is where you are at ease with yourself. You are at ease with yourself. Your mind and body are at ease with each other. Every cell in your panchakosha is at ease with itself. When all your koshas are at ease with each other, there is no dichotomy, there is no split. Anandam. Anandame paramanandame panchakoshangal orginindale. When your panchakoshas are one, when they come together, when there is oneness, when there is inclusiveness, there is bliss. But what happens is we split away. The body is different than the mind, is different than the emotions, is different than everything. When your thought, word, and deed start to separate, disease occurs. You think one thing, you say another thing, you do another thing. There has become not just duality, triplity. And you have moved so far away from that inclusive oneness. Inclusiveness is oneness, where you sense a oneness, and in that state of oneness, automatically contentment will be there because there is no comparison. When you are in a state of oneness, there is no comparison. So the automatic state is of contentment, santosha. And automatically serenity, contentment and serenity come because you are at ease with yourself. You are not trying to compare with somebody. And so in that santosha tanuttama sukhalavaha, you are in that unparalleled sense of ease. Sukham becomes your essential nature. But the moment you say, oh, look at him, he gets a bigger salary. Oh, look at him, he has a better wife. Oh, look at him, he has a better job. Oh, look at him, he's on Indica and I'm not on Indica. You know, all this, what it happens, it creates a division. And from that sense of separation, you start to tear yourself apart. Ammaji, my mother, Meenakshi Devi Bhavanani, she used to say, you are ripped apart, you are ripped into pieces by the Shatripus. The Shatripus, Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Madamatsarya, they are ripping you apart. Because what is happening? You are not at ease with yourself. So you think, if I have something, and if I don't have something, Sukhanushayi Ragaha, Dukkhanushayi Dvesha. And you are constantly pulled out of your state of samatvam, of balance and equanimity and equipoise by the likes and dislikes. This is why the philosophy and the practices of yoga as a living tradition. Yoga as a living tradition enables us to attain to that state of oneness, manifest it, and start to spread that sense of oneness with everyone, so that every drop realizes it is not a drop, but it is the ocean itself. That is where yoga comes in as an inclusive tool. You have to first feel a sense of inclusiveness within yourself. You then have to have a sense of inclusiveness with others. Remember, intrapersonal inclusiveness. The mind and body have to feel included. They have to feel one. So oneness, inclusiveness. The second is you start to involve others. This is why yoga is not something to be practiced in isolation. It is to be practiced in community and strengthen the community. That is where the spiritual aspect comes in. This is where the concept of gratitude, respect, and seva, serving others, which is the concept of the Bhagavad Gita, Nishkama Karma. Because in the Nishkama Karma, you connect with your Anandamaya Kosha and you realize, I am not separate. No man or woman is an island. We are all interconnected. Every atom in this universe is interconnected. And suddenly, the interconnectivity, the interrelationship starts to make so much of sense, and you don't feel separation. You look at somebody, you don't feel, oh, they're different than me. Because you realize we are all the same Atma. We are all the same energy. We are all the same breath. We are all the same life force. And suddenly you realize there is no other. We are one. That is what yoga is developing from within us. And every practice in yoga, be it the asana, the pranayama, the mudra, the bandha, the kriya, it is geared to create the sense of oneness. But in that creation of oneness, there has to be morals and ethics. That is why adhikara yoga, the yoga that makes you an adhikara and fit for the higher teachings, is the base, and that base is yama niyama. Yoga without yama niyama will make you stronger, but it will not make you a good human being. So a terrorist practicing yogasanas, pranayamas, can become a better terrorist, because there's no transformation happening unless the firm foundation is there. Yama niyama. What is the yama? It is that which enables us to grow out of the subhuman tendencies. And the niyama, they strengthen the humane tendencies or capabilities. You're suppressing, not suppressing because it's not a nice word. Let us say you are outgrowing the subhuman tendencies. That's a nice word. You are outgrowing, you are transcending the subhuman tendencies, which are all vitarka based. They are all based on the deviance, himsa, etc. They are subhuman tendencies. You are transcending them by the yama, and the niyama is enhancing and strengthening your humane qualities. Then the asana, pranayama, mudra makes you a better human being. Because a yogi is a good human being, a noble human being. being. That is why Lord Krishna tells Arjuna, Tapasvibhyo adhiko yogi jnanibhyo abhimadodikaha karmabhyaschadiko yogi tasmad yogi bhava Arjunaha. That yogi we have to become. You say, oh yeah, he told Arjuna. No, no, no. Each one of us is Arjuna. Each one of us is in that Vishada. Each one of us doesn't know what direction to go because we have got separated by avidya. And so we think, oh, I'm suffering. And then the pure consciousness says, what is it in you that is suffering? What has identified with the suffering? Dukkha samyoga viyogam, he says. You have to learn to move away from it by having the bigger perspective that Vivek has to develop. So that suddenly you realize, Dukkhameva sarvam vivekinaha. All of this is because I have got attached to something that is impermanent, unreal, and I'm suffering because of it. And suddenly you realize, I am not this piecemeal entity that is suffering, but I am the whole. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnad Purnamudachyate. Suddenly you realize, I am this complete wholesomeness. And in that moment, healing can manifest. When you feel that sense of ease, when you feel that sense of community, when you feel that sense of oneness, healing can occur because healing response is directly proportional to relaxed response, relaxation response. When are you relaxed? When you don't have to compare with anybody, when you don't have to compare with anything, when you don't have deadlines to meet. Deadlines only kill you. It should be lifelines to enhance our living. And this is why our focus is moving from pathogenesis, the focus on disease, to salitogenesis, the focus on health and healing. Pathology is the focus. We call it a modern healthcare system. I'm part of it. It is actually a disease care system. It is a disease focused, disease centric. We are always looking, what is the disease? What can we do to prevent it? What can we do to treat it? We should look at what is health. What is healing? What is wellness? What is this feeling of wholesomeness? Because we are so focused in the pathogenic paradigm, we are focused on curing somebody. You have a problem, I want to cure you. So either I give you a medicine or I do a surgery or I do, certain new novel innovative procedures following standard operating procedures. And I try to cure you. But the question is, are we actually healing anybody? We are so focused on cure because pathogenic paradigm. Only when we shift our paradigm from pathogenic to salutogenic that we can focus from cure into healing. And what is this healing we are talking about? Healing is when the person once again feels a sense of wholesomeness. In curing, what is happening is the pathology is being treated. There is a cancer, you are trying to remove it. There is an inflamed appendix, you are removing it. There is an inflamed tonsil, you are removing it. And you say, I have cured you, go home. But the person doesn't feel whole anymore. They feel pieces. They have gone to pieces. Those pieces have fallen apart. We have to help them to put the pieces back together and become whole. Many years ago, my father was living in Canada. And he sent one of his students to India to study with his guru, Swami Kanakananda Bhrigu Guru Maharaj. And so this student came to study with Swami Kanakananda ji and then wrote back to my father. He said, in those days, my father was still called Ananda Bhavanani. He said, Ananda, your guru has blown me to pieces. What should I do? Your guru has blown me to pieces. What should I do? And my father wrote back, take those pieces that you want to be you and put yourself back together and create a new you from those pieces. The guru is blasting you to pieces. Why? So that all that is not you can be left out and all that is you can now come together. You are taking all the nonsense so that the sense can prevail. All the non-self so that the self can shine. The anatma is being dispelled, blown to pieces so that atma khyati can manifest. That atma can shine, resplendent in its luminosity. So we have to enable people, instead of focusing, I'm curing you by removing your disease, suppression treatment, repression treatment, and negation treatment or excision treatment? Can we move into a paradigm, a salutogenic paradigm that says, how can I make this person have a sense of wholesomeness again? Because that is when healing occurs. When you again feel at ease with yourself. And this is where yoga, as a healing modality, as a tool of healing, as a technology of healing, as a philosophy, a psychology of healing, has such an amazing place. Because when you bring it into structures, we try to have it in a medical institution. So what are we focused on? Already the doctors are treating the diabetes, the hypertension, the cancer, the mental illness. What are we trying to do using yoga here? Yoga is being given to that individual who is a care seeker, seeking care. We are giving it to help them have a sense of healing, to have a sense of ease, to bring that sukhasthanam, to help them have a sense of relaxation. And that is why the greatest contribution of yoga to modern healthcare, the greatest contribution is in drug-free, non-pharmacological, safe, cost-effective relaxation techniques. Because through relaxation, when you can give that person a good relaxation and you help them to start to breathe and feel at ease, the moment you breathe, the moment you slow down the breath, the moment you start to focus on the prana and the apana moving one into the other, as said in the Bhagavad Gita, the moment you find that inner harmony by working with the breath, you move from, this is abhinivesha klesha, brainstem, I have to survive, normal respiration, to prefrontal cortex, choice-based respiration in pranayama. You have moved from survival mode to living mode. This is survival mode, stress mode. This is relaxation mode. You have made a quantum leap from the back of your brain to the front of your brain. And the moment you do this, you are evoking not just the relaxation response, but the healing response. They start to heal. They start to feel complete. When they do the yoga practices, the body, the mind, and the breath are working together. The body is moving in tune with the breath. And this is being done mindfully with focus. And suddenly, all the three koshas, Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, are working together. They are being guided by the Vijnanamaya kosha. And you are starting to feel wholesomeness. You are feeling connected to yourself, connected to your immediate, intermediate, and global society. And suddenly your Anandamaya kosha lights up. And suddenly you feel a sense of wholesomeness again. Anandame Paramanandame Panchakoshangal. When the Panchakoshas are coming together, a sense of bliss is coming, ease is coming. This is the healing that is being facilitated. Now, please don't go around saying, I'm a healer and I have healed people. We don't heal anybody. They have to heal themselves. We can facilitate. We can be a facilitator of healing. We cannot be a healer. Because the healing is an inherent potential quality. It is a natural, God-given, universal potential lying within each and every being. Every living being has a potential for healing that has been untapped. A lizard can lose a limb and grow it back because it has not worried about comparing itself with the next lizard. It is not worried about being a spider. It is happy. It is content. It is being the best lizard it can be. But the moment we start to be something else, the moment we compare, the moment we try to be someplace else, we are not who we are not where we are not doing what we are doing, there is a split. And immediately stress, and stress will always retard healing. Stress retards healing. Relaxation facilitates healing. And relaxation can only be facilitated by the sense of oneness, and every yoga practice is geared towards creating that oneness and inclusiveness where your mind includes your body includes your mind, your breath includes your emotions include your digestion includes your metabolism, and everything includes your excretion too. Everything is inclusive. You are one. Your excretion is not different than your thought process. They're all one and the same. They're all the different pranas working through us. Suddenly you start to heal. This is the self-facilitated healing, the healing that comes from within. How do you evoke it? By relaxing. How do you evoke relaxation? By just being. The great Ramana Maharishi, when asked, what is it we should do? He said, Summa iru. People say, oh, he's saying shut up. No, no, no. Summa iru, which means just be. In that state of just being, just be, automatically sukham will be there. Automatically relaxation will be there. And in that nishpanda bhavana, automatically what happens? Your inherent healing is facilitated. The swast starts to manifest in its wholesomeness. This is one aspect of yoga and its inclusiveness as a healing modality. The practical application is that we at Saiter, we have also tried to be inclusive in social awareness. And so many parts of society that often are not offered yoga or who miss out on yoga, we have included them in all our activities. It is so important that we involve everyone, we include everyone. And so in our work, three primary aspects we have focused. One is the silver citizens, the senior citizens who have always been revered, and our respect and gratitude for the seniors has always been part of our Sanskriti. It has been part of our tradition. But today, what do we find? They are neglected. They are left to fend for themselves. Often, people just put them someplace and they say, you know, I'll pay your bills, survive there. What is happening? They feel neglected. They feel a sense of separation. So we have taken yoga with this inclusiveness to all the senior citizens. And it has been one of the greatest aspects of our work in yoga is all the silver citizens. They start to have that sense of inclusiveness, oneness. And yoga is giving them back such joy in their life. Santoshat anuttama sukhalabha is definitely manifesting. The second group is the children with special needs. And it has been the heart of our work is to work with them in what we call Divyanga Yoga. That these children who have physical and mental disabilities, they have special needs. How can we address those needs? And taking yoga to them, giving them a sense of wholesomeness. They are not lacking in anything. They are not second to anyone. They are the best themselves. And our experience of the past 2 decades with these children have been mind-blowing. And so much of work we have done with them, children with autism spectrum disorder, and how yoga can just enhance their life so much. And they start to have that healing. They feel whole again. Our silver citizens feel whole again. They have that sense of healing. And the third group, which we focus on at our university, is the transgender community. The people who are on that gender spectrum and they don't know where they are. And they are struggling. There are so many physical, mental, emotional, and social needs for that community. And how can you have a salutogenic approach to help in the transgender community? This has also been one of our focuses. So inclusiveness at the individual level, helping the person to have a sense of oneness, feel whole once again. The body, mind, the spirit, the complex, all coming together. The defragmenting of your hard drive, taking away all the fragments, moving from a sense of separation to inclusiveness at the individual level. Working with the community and society who are marginalized. And you know what? People often wonder, oh, is yoga a religion? Is it part of certain religious beliefs? Are certain people not able to do it? At our center, people of all religions, all ethnicities, they can all come. They all come and they benefit from this inclusiveness of yoga as a healing modality. It is happening. This is not futuristic. This is happening right now at Pondicherry. And it is astonishing. I remember a Muslim gentleman who was leading prayers. He had a very bad cancer and lymphoma. And what happened? They had to remove one of his lungs. He was sent to the yoga. And I asked him, I said, what do you expect from yoga? He said, I'm not able to do my namas. I'm not able to do my prayers. I cannot connect with my God. I feel separated. After a certain number of yoga sessions, he met me. He was so happy. He said, I can now do my namas. I can connect with God. I can feel a sense of oneness. He says, I know I'm going to die. By now, I'm at ease with it. I'm at peace and I will face death without any fear because now I have connected. That is what happens when yoga is brought as that whole spirit of yoga is inclusiveness. Because yoga is universal. It is sarva dharma. It is not limited to one group of people. Never has it been limited. The universal nature of yoga. But we have to remember, where has that seed sprouted? What is the fertile ground? That is Sanatana Dharma. And what is Sanatana Dharma? It is the culture, the eternal culture of responsibility. An eternal culture, timeless culture that teaches us responsibility for the self and responsibility for the immediate, intermediate, and global world. Because we realize, Vasudhaiva Kudumbakam, I am not separate. We are all one. And we realize that there can be noble thoughts from all directions. Ano Badra Kridavo Yanto Vishwataha. And again, we always remember, Ekam Sat Vipra Bahuda Vadanti. These are concepts that are part of the Sanatana Dharma. And that fertile soil in which yoga has sprouted, has grown, and giving fruits to the whole world today. But it's universal. And that is why we need to remember, even when talking of Yama Niyama, Maharishi Patanjali is very clear. Sarva Bhauma Mahavratam. They are universal. So it's not only Indians, it is not only people 5,000 years ago. Every one of us is included in yoga. And yoga includes everyone in its armpit. That is why I often like to say, yoga is for all, no doubt about it. But I often wonder, are all for yoga? The rain can come there, but there has to be a container to catch that rain, otherwise it will just wash away. You can give people something, but if they are not ready to receive it, well, nothing can be done there. You can wake somebody up who's sleeping. You cannot wake up somebody who's acting like they're sleeping. You know, as they used to say, you can take the horse to the water, you cannot make him drink. Well, the wise horse said, you can take human beings to knowledge, but you cannot make them think. I think we have to understand that yoga is definitely for all. Yoga is inclusive. And yoga enables us to be inclusive intrapersonally. It enables us to be inclusive interpersonally in relationships, understanding the other person as if they are us, because there is no other, there is oneness. And then understanding the global society, so that we realize every dot in the universe connects to every other dot in that amazing multi-spectrum universe. Every dot counts. Every pixel counts in the image. It doesn't matter what color it is. It doesn't matter where it comes from, where it is made. And that is the inclusiveness of yoga. So yoga is inclusive. The more we realize that inclusive nature of yoga, we become wholesome. The more wholesome we are, the more we heal, because relaxation response and healing response are directly proportional. Reduce the stress response because it is inversely proportional to the healing response. And start to share with everyone, because sharing is caring. And in sharing, we all grow together. Every link must be strengthened, because a chain is only as strong as its weakest link. So if I say, I am going to be, healthy, it's not about me becoming healthy. I should be healthy and I should enable others to be healthy. I should be happy and it should enable others to be happy. I should be at ease and I should enable others to be at ease, because as every link in the chain is strengthened, the chain becomes strong. The chain of humanity becomes stronger. United we stand, divided we fall. And I don't think there's a greater time for this message than the present COVID pandemic. We all have to come together as one humanity. One humanity. That is the goal of yoga. That is the goal of Sanatana Dharma. Is one humanity where we realize we are all interconnected. We are all drops of the same ocean. And every drop has the ocean within itself in its potential form. And at that moment, suddenly healing, physical healing, mental healing, emotional healing, social healing, and even spiritual healing can occur. And at that moment, the ultimate aim of yoga becomes manifest. And that ultimate aim is when we realize we are not different than the cosmos. As our Siddhas have said, Andatil ullade pindam, Pindatil ullade andam, Andamum pindamum ஒன்றே, அறிந்து தான் பார்க்கும் போது, அண்டமும் பிண்டமும் ஒன்றே, அறிந்து தான் பார்க்கும் போது. The microcosm and macrocosm are one and the same. What's in the microcosm is in the macrocosm. What's in the macrocosm is in the microcosm. They are one and the same. When you realize that, you are in that state of all inclusiveness, all oneness. And at that state, Purnamada Purnamidam, it becomes a reality. It becomes an action. I wanted to share these thoughts today with all of you. And I thank Indica Yoga for giving me this platform. Yoga is inclusive. Yoga is for all. Yoga enables intrapersonal, interpersonal, and transpersonal oneness and inclusivity, and enables the healing response to manifest in abundance, abundance, abundance. Anandam, anandam, anandami. That starts to manifest. Dhanyavadaha. We will now go back to my dear Sububhaiya and then take any questions that are there.
Thank you, Dr. Anandji. As your name itself is Ananda, you brought that, manifested that Ananda to this entire community of Ananda sadhakas of the Indica Yoga platform. Such a wonderful presentation. I don't require to summarize or bring it forth again, because it was very clear for all of us to understand. The presentation, the language was also so, it was profound yet lucid, very easy for everybody to, I think, understand. And the of course, than the questions or doubts, because it was very clear, it was more the experience that people are sharing. Sri Raghavanji has shared beautiful. Swamiji, he had in fact taken Anandaji to Swamiji, so beautiful Swamiji. And of course, he has asked about any meditation practice that you can suggest. And also, I think Lakshmi Kanji had this thinking of oneness. Our country had been having it, had many aggression. How you look at, okay, he is coming to a question, so we'll come back to that. Yeah, so like this. And then also in the chat session, I've seen I think that there is somebody with a Vatsalya Bhava towards you. Meena Shah has written, "Dear Anand, congratulations, beta. What you are speaking is wonderful. The union of your separate parts, first thing going further is only the right way. Going further, the union of separate parts is the right way. Superb. God bless you." So there's also a blessing from a loving mother, Meena Shah ji. With this, I think the first question that we have, Dr. G, is from Manoj Soni ji, who writes, "How do our gunas, which are with us when we were born, affect the way we can integrate ourselves? How so we get the best effect of yoga? This is a big bottleneck for a seeker like me, and would like to have an advice from you. How do we keep ourselves relaxed when we are interacting with the outside world?"
Thank you, Manoj Soni, for this question. You see, when we talk about the gunas and the doshas, what we don't realize is they are like our spiritual DNA. So our spiritual DNA is like our physical DNA. It will always be there. But how that DNA will express itself, it is called epigenetics. So you have a gene genetic structure. How do those genes express? That determines who you are and what you do in life. And this is why I often tell people the most important aspect of yoga is changing the epigenetics. Because your samskara vasanas are connected to your guna and dosha in this lifetime. So yes, you are born with your guna dosha, no doubt about it. But then that spiritual DNA can be modified by the environment, which is where the role of the guru comes in. The role of the guru is to enable the Shishya to understand the guna dosha matrix, understand the primordial samskara vasana patterns, and do something about it. Change it. And that change is where the expression changes. My medical professor, Dr. A.K. Das, who's a diabetologist, one of India's top diabetologists, used to say, genes are like a loaded gun. Your genes are like a loaded gun. Whether the gun goes off or not depends on you pulling the trigger. You pulling the trigger is what makes the gun go off or doesn't go off in this lifetime. The same thing with your gunas and your doshas. They are there. They are a loaded gun. But how do you express it? That is where the power of choice comes in. Viveka kyati aviplava hanopayaha, says Maharishi Patanjali. The most important tool here, hanopayaha, is viveka kyati. And that is the goal of all yoga sadhana. Yoganga anushtanat ashuddhi kshaye jnana deepti aviveka kyati. That is the goal of the angas. When viveka comes in, when discernment comes in, when your prefrontal cortex, this is where the buddhi is, prefrontal cortex, that is what comes in. Suddenly you can make the choices that are appropriate. You start to make choices based on response, not reaction. And this goes also for Raghavanji's question. Any meditation practice, anything that strengthens your prefrontal cortex, it doesn't matter what form of meditation. And again, I must say, remember, meditation is an integral component of yoga. I do not like the modern phrase yoga and meditation. Dhyana is the heart of yoga. So let us not, at least let us not say yoga and meditation. Dhyanam is a component, an integral component of yoga. Similarly, I nowadays hear people yoga and pranayama. Please, let us not make that mistake. Yoga is yoga, it is wholesome. So it doesn't matter what technique you practice. Eka Tattva Abhyasa, says Maharishi Patanjali. Focus on that practice which you are doing. Do it wholeheartedly. And when you do that practice wholeheartedly, you will develop your prefrontal cortex, which is the seat of Viveka and Vairagya. Discernment and metacognitive objectivity. And suddenly you can start to make the appropriate choices and manifest the best of your gunas, the best of your doshas. Because ultimately yoga is going against the guna vritti. Guna vritti virodacha. That is where Viveka helps you to go against the guna vritti and start to transcend not just your physical genetics, even your spiritual genetics. Because ultimately, even if it is good genetics, it is still genetics. And all genetic will be conditioning. So you have to transcend your conditioning. This is very relevant to Chandrasekhar Shastri ji's question. How to reduce karma, how to reduce jealousy. See, the moment you start to move out of the me, all the Shatripus are based on a false sense of me. So I have karma, I have krodha, I have lobha, I have moha, I have mada, I have matsarya. This I-ness is where the problem is. So we need to move from I to we. Even illness becomes wellness when you move from I to we. How do you move? You say this is theoretical. How do you move? The best way is, as I said, pranayama sadhana. The I-ness is locked in your abhinivesha klesha brainstem. You start changing the breathing. You start to be mindful in your breath. You determine how long am I going to breathe? How short am I going to breathe? Which nostril am I going to breathe? How am I going to hold? And the moment you start to do that, your viveka buddhi will come in. And the second way, all the emotions, the Shatripus are linked to your limbic system. That is where they are, empowering. And the amygdala, which is so strong with all of these kama, krodha, lobha, moha, it is very strong. How do you attenuate it? Om Japa. Om Japa. Whenever the antarayas are there, whenever the chitta vikshepa is there, the best way is automatically what happens? Your limbic system is deactivated. Scientific research at NIMHANS, Kalyani, BG, and Gangadhar sir's daughter, they did work. Om chanting attenuates the limbic response. So whenever you find that Om chanting, if not Om chanting, you do Brahmari Pranayama, it will have a similar effect. You do Pranava Pranayama with Akara, Ukara, Makara. it will have that same effect. Now I'll come to Lakshmikant's question. See, the thinking of oneness has been part of our culture. Thinking of oneness may not have been part of other cultures, and so they have been aggressors. You cannot be responsible for somebody else. You can only be responsible for yourself. I often say, I am responsible for what I think, what I say, what I do, not for what others think, say, and do. I cannot be responsible for that. So aggression has not come from us. Aggression has come from outside because they didn't see oneness. We have always seen oneness, and even the aggressors have been welcomed with open arms. Why did Alexander hug Raja Puru? Because that oneness which ultimately was there, that interconnectivity. We have shared without copyright. We have been copy left. All the rishis have given all the jnana with copy left. They have never done copyright. But others may copyright it, and that is where the struggle comes. As someone said, just because you don't eat a lion, don't expect the lion not to eat you. I think the same thing here. We have that feeling of oneness, of openness. What others do, they have to learn. It is their life, it is their karma that they have to go through. But if we have this sense of oneness, we will be at ease. When Maharishi Patanjali tells us about the Chatur Bhavana, Maitri Karuna Muditopekshanam Sukha Dukka Punya Punya Vishayanam Bhavana Tah Chitta Prasadanam. He says, why should you adopt these attitudes? Not to change the world, to change yourself. You will have Chitta Prasadanam, you will have mental clarity, you will be at ease. So you are doing your sadhana, you will feel at ease, you will have healing, and hopefully others will see you. They'll say, how are you feeling happy? How are you feeling at ease? How are you healing? And maybe they will try to do that same sadhana. And by being the change, we can change the world. By being the transformation, we can transform the world. And by following our own dharma, swadharma, we can then be the best we that we can be. And that will then motivate others to be the best they that they can be.
I think in a wonderful way that you took the chain of questions, knitting all the answers together and bringing it in an excellent way. So I think all our questions are answered this way by the superb way of Dr. Anand Balayogi Bhavanani ji. And while I was listening to your talk, Dr. Ji, I had one kind of a doubt. I thought maybe one of the participants would also ask it, but then you were telling about the integration of the Panchakoshas. You were also giving a beautiful song when in Tamil, when all the Panchakoshas come together, the Ananda. But I think in the Vedanta, we have an approach of transcending that, not integrating, but you transcend the Annamaya, transcend the Pranamaya, and then go beyond is what it is. So how do we understand this? Bringing together or transcending, which is the way?
See, ultimately, both 0 and 9 are one and the same. Shunya and Ashunya become one in the bigger picture. So there are different approaches to the same truth. And for me, I don't separate it as Vedanta, Sankhya, Yoga. For me, it is all one with just different perspectives. We have looked at it from different angles. See, the Panchakoshas, the difference is, I would say, in the perspective of Vedanta that says, Brahma Satyam Jagat Nitya. So everything in the Jagat, including your Panchakosha, is Mithya. That has to be transcended. That is a Vedantic perspective. But the yogic perspective says everything exists. It is there, but you have to experience it and transcend it. Bhoga apavargartam drishyam. So the yogic perspective doesn't negate it. It says it is existing there. Why? For you to have an experience. And after having the experience, you transcend it. So ultimately, yes, we are transcending the Panchakosha. But whereas Vedanta is trying to adopt its methodology, which is similar to Buddhism in that way, negation. And like Nabhutim, Nabhumin, Natoyam, Natejo, Navayu. It is basically a negation. So I am not this. When I negate everything, that alone which remains is what I am. But what here yoga is saying is, it all is there. Experience it. Bhoga. But don't get caught in it. Apavarga is the goal. Kaivalya is the goal. So initially we want to understand the kosha, integrate the kosha, experience the bliss, and then you transcend the bliss. So it is going through and transcending is the yogic approach. Vedanta says don't get attached to it, don't get into it. It is all mithya. So this is where they are the one and the same. Ultimate goal is one and the same. Whether it be moksha, mukti, nirvana, kaivalya, the goal is the same. Methodology, there's slight difference. Definitely. It's a beautiful question. And because you are a master of Vedanta and yoga, you have asked that question.
I think like that, we're all aspirants trying to travel in the path under the guidance of elders like you again. And also, I'd like to, ask about the new book, which you brought out about the cultural appropriation through yoga. So can
Yes.
you please talk about it a bit?
One of the issues in modern times is yoga has been taken out of its cultural context. When we take yoga out of its cultural context, it then mutates. And today we have a lot of plasticized yoga, dead body yoga, jada yoga, ayoga yoga, viyoga yoga is become prevalent. And there are many people who don't understand the cultural context. So the book we have put out, the goal here is to set a roadmap. We are not saying that we have found the way. What we are saying here is a map. It is like your Google map. So we are giving a map. What is the yoga dharma and what is the yoga adharma that is happening? What is the dharmic perspective of yoga, yoga in its cultural context? And when you take it out, it becomes yoga adharma. We are just putting it out there for people to look at it and say, which boxes am I ticking? And if I want to correct and course correct, where can I do it? So I feel it's a roadmap. And what we are doing is giving it as an option for people to just take a look at themselves, their yoga practice, their approach to yoga teaching. Because yoga out of context is not really yoga anymore. It becomes just physical exercise. So if somebody uses the term physical exercise, I have no issue. But when the term yoga is used, it has a cultural context. We must not forget that. When we understand cultural context, it is culturally appropriate yoga. So this is what I would like to stress here. Culturally appropriate yoga as opposed to cultural misappropriation, which is actually intellectual property theft of the Rishi culture. So we want to motivate people to start practicing culturally appropriate yoga. That is the key that we are working towards now.
When you're talking of the vision of oneness and all, so will it not be also oneness to not to distinguish between the appropriate and the misappropriated and then take it all inclusive in that way?
You see, the inclusiveness is a quality that comes from Viveka Buddhi. And when Viveka comes, you know what is Mithya and what is not Mithya. And Viveka will help you understand what is milk, what is water. So Viveka doesn't mean you drink everything and say it is all inclusive. Viveka understands what is milk, what is water. It understands the distinction and then makes the choice. So inclusiveness doesn't mean everything together. What it means is that there is oneness, and that which is not supporting oneness needs to be discarded. We have to find the plastic and discard it so that the plastic is dealt differently, organic waste is dealt differently. So the organic, which is culturally appropriate yoga, and the culturally misappropriated yoga is the plastic. We have to separate it with Viveka. So oneness doesn't mean mixing everything. Oneness means understanding which is the organic, which is the original, and then focusing on it and removing all that which is not. The anitya, the asuchi has to be removed. Ashuddhik shaye has to happen for jnana deepti to occur. So definitely it has to happen.
Very nice. In fact, I was about to quote you always saying the plastic yoga. So you have brought it also the organic yoga and the plastic yoga. So that is the viveka that we need to really get in the field of yoga. And I think in a beautiful way you have taken the theme, what the healing, well-being, and wisdom. I think all three had a confluence today in Dr. Ananda's talk. And especially he had given us the beautiful approach of moving from the pathogenic, from disease-centric healing to the salitogenesis, the real healing, where the relaxation response and the healing response are very directly proportional to each other. And through this understanding of this inclusive nature of yoga, in the culturally appropriate manner, I think that's the right way for us to go ahead in this journey of yoga that we all have taken together. And is there anything that Dr. Vinay ji would like to add to this before we conclude?
Just like to thank Dr. Bhavanani ji for the wonderful insights that he always brings in. It's amazing, and the kind of energy and charm that he brings to the entire discussion. We are always grateful. And I think the focus of his current work, which is culturally appropriate yoga, I think this is one of the most important requirements of our time, because there are two modes that we generally start operating. Either we are frustrated, disillusioned with what is happening, and then leave it at that, or we keep on cribbing about what is happening. I mean, not aware of how to respond to this situation in a very dignified and respectful manner. Because it's not that many people intend to do it other ways, they just don't have a proper framework, a guideline as to how or what is culturally appropriate yoga is. And to provide that perspective, the kind of literature he has come up with, and he has taken upon himself to reach out to people and make it available, I think this is one of the best services of our current times, and we are all grateful, Dr. Anand Bhavanani ji, for this. In fact, I was just thinking if there is any way that we can join hands with you and ensure that it reaches to a larger number of people, that's something that we definitely want to do it with all earnestness.
That message means a lot to me, Vinay Chandraji, because when I put this book out with Malini and Padma, the aim is not to sell books. And though it is available for sale on the website, I put it on SlideShare and made it freely available. And when people ask me about the book, I first give them the free link, and then I say, if you want, you can also buy it. Because I am not here to sell books. I am not here to sell anything. I am here to stand up for yoga, because yoga is my beloved mother. And I cannot see my mother ill-treated by anyone. So I want people to understand that wonderful grace of yoga. So I hope through all of these platforms, people will become aware of it. And as the message grows stronger, we realize adharma cannot be fought by adharma. Dharma has to grow bright. Dharma has to grow so big that adharma will dissipate on its own. When the sun comes up, the darkness will go away on its own. Trying to fight the darkness is not going to help us. Let the light be strong, let it be bright, and the darkness will fall away. So my approach here is strengthen dharma rather than keep on fighting adharma. Let people know what is dharma, what is the cultural context. I think it is so important, and the work you are doing at Indica Yoga means so much to me, because you are making sure that people get the context. Yoga without context is not yoga. It's as simple as that.
And I also would like to add this to all our participants. When Anandji was telling about the copyleft approach to intellectual tradition, in fact, he is the one who is practicing it 200%, if not more. All his writings, publications, everything is made available free of cost on various platforms. There could be books, as he was pointing out, which can be purchased, but before that he puts them for generic access. So his is one of the well-read, well-accessed literature in the field of yoga. So thousands of people, I mean, the kinds of downloads that you should see, it runs into few millions. So that's the way, that's the generosity of Dr. Bhavanani ji, and we're all grateful for embedding these aspects truly into the yoga world, because sometimes even within the yoga world we might miss out on the larger context, because things around is seems to be competitive. one has to fight, one has to, so that these tendencies might come into the yoga world too. But the work that you're doing is a constant reminder as to what are the foundational principles of the yogic world. And we're all grateful for that, Bhavanani ji.
I think as he represents the Rishi culture, the Rishis were like that without claiming their authorship, right from the Vedic time. So, as rightly, he had taken the name of Rishi culture for the teaching of Swami Gitananji, which he is taking ahead. So, I think he is doing that whole and soul. And then always he keeps saying there is no copyright, it's only copy left. So, everybody are left to take the copies and use it. So, thank you so much for this generous, kodai. In Tamil, we say, kodai. So, giving to everybody. So, thank you.
Maybe you should have a copyright claim for this word copy left, because someone else might start claiming.
I have started using it a lot.
Our culture, the Rishi culture, has always understood the importance of being a giver. We should always be a giver, not a getter, and not a grabber. When we grab something, what we have is very less. When we open and give, we can then receive. The more we give, the more comes back. And this is why I have found in my own life, the more you share, the more comes back from so many directions. Share love, share knowledge, share teachings, share gratitude. Because when you express it, when you give it, you are creating a space for the universe to then fill it. If you don't give, there's no space. The universe says, okay, I'll wait till you to open up your palm and then we'll worry about it. So for me, the universe is benevolent. Whatever I am today is the grace of my parents and the gurus and the great Maharishis who we can tap into. Maharishi Patanjali is a living entity for me. He is not in the past. He is a time traveler who is present with me. Every time I say, Adha Yoga Anushasanam, he is alive in me. He is not in the past. And so then how can I sell anything that they have given me free of cost? We have to share. Jnana is to be shared without limitation. Jnana, universal, unlimited.
Wonderful. Sorry, I just was so tempted to jump in also. Just saying that in the happiness research field also, they talk of two kinds of mentalities, of the abundance mentality and the scarcity mentality. And unfortunately, the education is teaching us about the scarcity mentality, that there's one piece of cheese and all of us need to grab it. And the yoga tradition has always offered to us the abundance mentality. That's why they say, Ma gridha kasyas with dhanam. It's all there, abundantly available. So you're like Vinaya and Sububhaya have said that you're a living example of that generosity of abundant mentality. So Bahu Dhanyavadaha, and let there be more showers of glory on you from all sides. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Dhanyavadaha.
Thank you, Vinayji and Anuji. And of course, on all our behalf, our gratitude to Dr. Ananda ji for bringing all these wonderful insights. And again, hoping for having more and more from this generous yogi with only copy left, no copyrights. Thank you. And Vinayji would announce about the further events of today. Thank you.
Anandji, we would like to have you share your contact details and a message. But before that, we'll make quick announcements for tomorrow evenings and tomorrow's sessions. Kotiji, can you please show us the sessions for the evening? In fact, today we have a dialogue on Buddhist view and practice on overcoming fear, because these are some of the aspects that we wanted to go in depth. How do we deal with grief, fear, trauma? I mean, various aspects we have been dealing with throughout the course of this festival. And today we'll be looking at fear, and especially from a Buddhist perspective, which is again not so different from the yogic perspective. How does it view the fear, and how can one overcome the fear? So this will be a conversation between two Buddhist scholars. One is Lama Zodibre, who is a writer, counselor, and professor of contemplative studies. And another one is a Buddhist scholar, Nogdup T. Burkhar, who is also a translator and who has worked with very senior Buddhist teachers, translating them and taking part in their wisdom. So this will be a wonderful session to look out to, which is being brought to us by our partner GPIW, that is Global Peace Initiative of Women. Kotiji, I'll also request you to kindly play us a short video of tomorrow's session, which will be again a very fascinating session to look forward to. This will be on Vijnana Bhairava Tantra. We would have Ms. Akanksha Damini Joshi ji, who will be joining us, who will be bringing insights from Vijnana Bhairava Tantra.
Get ready to receive a sacred story. A story which goes back to the Kailash. Devi Shruno, listen. Utpatti Dvitiya Sthane.
So please continue with us till the completion of this festival. That would be till 18th July 2021. And I would like to remind once again that all these sessions are recorded and made available on Indica Yoga YouTube channel, Indica Yoga website, and our Facebook page. Because this is content, these are timeless content, which you might want to go back to again and again to have an immersion into it. In fact, this is one of the approaches of Indica Yoga, that to bring in a deeper immersion into whatever we are doing. And all these platforms are available to you for your own access, again, as per Anandji's path that he has shown. So all these are copy left, which can be made use of. And with this, we get back to Anandji. Anandji, Facebook is definitely one platform where you generously share, but there are many other programs, courses that you run. So how can people contact you, follow you, know about your work, and connect with you?
Basically, you just type Bhavanani and yoga, and if you type Bhavanani and yoga in Google or any search engine, the Facebook will come up. There's the page there where I share all the information of upcoming events and others. There is the YouTube channel with about 1,200 videos there. And there's a YouTube channel for Cyter, Cyter, which also has another 600 videos, which are more focused on yoga therapy. So the Cyter channel is more focused on yoga therapy content. The other cultural content is from the YouTube, where just you put in Bhavanani, it will come. SlideShare has about 600 or 700 PPTs and documents that can be freely downloaded for use by anyone. And if they feel like attributing it to me, I'll be happy. If not, also, it doesn't matter. And of course, LinkedIn is there, Twitter is there. But I think more than anything, Facebook for me is sort of the primary focus, because I share every day, 10 o'clock, a global prayer. Now today will be 78th day, non-stop Vishwa Yoga Prarthana for the sake of humanity and the chain. So I think the best one is Facebook, Bhavanani Yoga, and you have it all. And if you cannot find it, I'll be surprised.
I think we have the scintillating Saturdays and
Yes. In fact, tomorrow's scintillating Saturday, it clashes with this. That's why I'm not advertising it. Every Saturday, I do different topics. I've done it for 52 weeks. Tomorrow, 53rd, is on Nama Rupa, how the Nama invokes and evokes the Rupa. Because people think you can call it anything you want. So I have brought that out. So just for me, you just type Bhavanani Yoga, you'll find me someplace. And I will always answer. If I don't answer, it means something is really wrong.
Thank you. And Bhavanani ji, as we are about to conclude, a message that you are inspired with to share with us all this morning.
I think the most important message right now is that we have to be ourselves, and we just have to find our dharma and follow it. That's Swadharma. I think living one's Swadharma is so essential. Being oneself, true to oneself, is so important. And I think becoming a person of integrity, what we think we should say, what we say we should do, that for me is where we really become the best of the human we can be. We have to manifest our humaneness, and we have to realize that the divine is working through us. It's not us. We are blessed. The more we are blessed, the more fortunate we are, the greater the responsibility to share with others. And the more you share your blessings, the more the universe will bless you. So keep sharing, keep caring, keep giving unconditionally. Because as I said, yoga, universal, unlimited.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ri. And you're always have been part of Indica Yoga and all yoga initiatives that any of us have been taking. For that instance, you have always been one of us, one among us. The inclusive yoga, what you spoke about, you really embody that and manifest that always. And I'm sure that all of us have taken a lot of inspiration from today's talk on the inclusive yoga as a healing modality, how it is more important. And rightly today, all our themes, healing, well-being, and wisdom, together had been conveyed here through this wonderful talk and interaction. And once again, on behalf of Indica Yoga and all the partner organizations, I thank Dr. Anand Balayogi Bhavanani ji for being with us, and also all our participants who have been patiently participating, following each and every activity, every session of the Global Festival of Yoga offered by Indica Yoga. Once again, I thank each one of the participants and wonderful questions that we had, which in a super way that he needed and answered all those. Thank you, all the people who had put forth those wonderful questions also. And with which today we conclude this morning session. Once again, thank you all. Namaste. We conclude with the Shanti Mantra. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukhabhag Bhavet Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. धन्यवाद. नमस्ते.